Well, it's about to begin. It's a hot day. I'm in a field and I have to change the bearings in my trailer. Now, if I can do this in the backyard in a field like this, you should be able to do this in your driveway, no problem. Now, today is Father's Day and I get the joy of doing this because it's the only day that I have available to do it. And we have a bunch of camping trips coming up this summer and I want to be safe. So I'd rather spend Father's Day making sure that my family is safe when we tow this thing from St. John, New Brunswick to Quebec City, to Montreal, to the Cabot Trail, and then a few other trips that we have planned. But those are the real big ones. And the last thing I need is any issues with that. Now, one of the main reasons I want to do this is we bought this trailer in the fall. We only took it a little bit. So I took this tire off and replaced it with the spare tire. Now, as you can see, this tire is worn right through here really bad. And it's scalloped and nasty and gnarly and no good. Which tells me that this tire was riding like that. Instead of straight up and down, it was riding like this, maybe even towed a bit, who knows. But when I changed the tires, I put this one on. This is what about 600 kilometers did with this tire. That is no good. I can't have that, and I need to fix it. So I've done this side already. The one thing I can say is this is the tire that was giving me the issues. And what was happening was, when I took it off, before I took it off, should I say, I could wiggle that tire like this, which tells me that the bearings are no good. Here are the tools that I've brought with me. Now, you don't necessarily need all of them, but you do need a fair bit of tools here. Okay, so obviously needle nose, some side snips come in very handy. Your assortment of different sided channel lock pliers, some punches, a variety of hammers is always nice, and then the biggest socket I could find, which it happens to be a 34 mil, but that I'll show you what we're doing with later. Torque wrench to torque the tires back down when we're done. I brought this pry bar, but I don't think I'll need it. A little bit of penetrating fluid / grease. Gloves because this is messy, and then the bearing kits as well. And then I have 4 tires, 2 of which are now on the trailer. And then a handful of rags. You're gonna need those. Don't let me forget. I almost walked out of the store with this. You need some grease. Now this is just the grease that I found on it. If I could read it, it says somewhere on here it's meant for high-speed bearings, and on it somewhere it also says boat trailer. So a boat trailer is a trailer that gets wet, so maybe it'll be better to keep the moisture out of my bearings. Okay, let's get going. Now I've taken the liberty of saving you a little bit of time, and I have this up, as you can see, on a big jack stand there. Some cinder blocks at the front to brace it. And then back here, the best I could do, because it's such a big hill, is get it on a 12-ton bottle jack, just so that I can get the tires up and free. And when I did mention the tools, I forgot to tell you, a 21 mil socket. I live dangerously. I know it's chrome, it's not technically an impact socket. I have my electric drill, and then also I have my little impact just to help with the stabilizers. Now remember, stabilizers are not jacks. They are only meant to stabilize. Do not lift your trailer with them. That's why I have the 12-ton bottle jack, okay? Because what can happen is you can wreck them, you can bend them, and then you're going to need to replace them, and that's expensive, okay? So use your bottle jack, stabilizers, just as a fail-safe so you don't drop the trailer. Now, let's get these tires off. See, this one's wearing nice, but it also has cracking in it. So out with the old, in with the new. Better to be safe than sorry when dealing with long road trips. Get this one off. All right. Actually, this tire doesn't look half bad, but I'm changing them all. I don't care. Another reason I want to change this is, see this tire? This is not my spare. I had this on there, and as I went to take it off, this valve stem let go and released all the air in it. So if the rubber is that rotten that can happen on a big trip, I am not risking it. Not for $100 a tire. Did I mention the latex gloves? I have a box of these that I use for doing my sewer work. So yes, you're definitely going to want some gloves. Now hopefully, there we go. Look at that. That is actually nice and fairly clean in there. It's actually red. My other side was black with metallic pieces in it. You could see the metal shavings in there. The other side had metallic shavings in it, so definitely needed to be changed. This side seems a little bit better. The grease is a little more red as opposed to black. There we go. Snip that part right off. Will it go through? The skinnier your needle nose are, the better off you are. If you can get it right in that hole, that's ideal. But I'm just working with my, I call them backup tools. There we go. I have a new cotter pin. There we go. Perfect. You know what I love about these guys on YouTube is they make it look so easy, and then you get out into a field thinking that you can do it, and it is a nightmare the whole time. The other side gave me a little bit of grief, but this side hopefully isn't so bad. Look, I'm already bleeding. Alright, so I want to reuse this nut, and I also want to reuse this washer, because that is they sell them, but I don't see the point. These look good on the other side. So now we'll just pull it off like that, and there you go. There's your hub. Set that there. I'll get a rag. Clean this off. Now, I would like to take a second to discuss these brakes. I know that they are no good. They don't work. They never have. I bought it, they didn't work. Now, I've searched in the store and they do not sell them. So I'm gonna have to look online to see if I can find a set of brakes for this thing, and then that will be a video for another day. Today, we are merely doing the bearings because we have a shakedown trip to get ready for one of our bigger trips, and I need to get this thing mobile and not burning tires out every 200 kilometers. So that is another project for another day. All right, now these are the wheel bearings that I bought. 2,000 pound axle. So this is what I found in the store. Now I'll take you to a clip right here of a picture I took of a sleeve or a bracelet or whatever you want to call it of the trailer, or on the axle should I say, that had a 2,000 pound rating. Now that's the only information I could find on the axle, so that's what I'm going with. Now, because I was so unsure of what size bearings to get, all I had was a 2,000 pound rating, and I didn't know the bolt pattern, the offset, anything. So I took this hub into Princess Auto, and what I did was I had the bearings, the old bearings here, and I just matched them up with these. I opened the box up and made sure that they are the same. Well, we don't have any hubs with brakes, so this will be the next best thing. That's what we're getting. Nice. Last 4, baby. It's my lucky day. Right on. And also, what I did was I took this hub and I placed it in that tire to make sure that the bolt pattern and everything sat up nicely. Because the last thing I need out in this field with Johnny on the spots and a patch that I cut out with my weed whacker is any problems. I don't need any problems today. And so far, it's been a decent enough day. So hopefully this one goes together all right. Let's get this together. Okay, let's love up again. That's why I brought the whole box. First things first, we have to get, I'm going to call it a sleeve. I don't know the actual name for it, but in there is where the bearing sits. And we need to get that out. We also need to get a lot of this grease out. So this is where the handful of rags comes into play. Gabagoo. Yeah, see, this is not shiny at all. I like that. Shove it right through. Look at that. Ew. Most of this grease out of here because I'm going to be replacing it all with nice new grease, right? It's 90% of it. Alright, good enough for now. We'll get this out. Okay, so what we got to do is we got to get that seal out of there. That's easy peasy. This punch. This is a handy dandy tool. Where's my little one? I guess this bigger hammer will do. Come on out. There it goes. Perfect. Basically, you just tap the back of the bearing and that'll pop out. Set those aside, we don't need them. Now, get the rest of this grease out. Okay. Look at that, how clean that is. This side's not near as bad. Couple of blocks of wood. All right. I'm gonna move this out of the way so it doesn't get lost. Set that like that. Ah, perfect. So if you set these down there, same with this side. Now, here is the tricky part. Do you see this? I'm going to call it a sleeve. That needs to be punched out from the other side. So in there is the opposite side. So this would be the outer. All I want to do is take the edge of my punch and just get it on that, down in there, and just work my way around, up, down, left, right, all and then in a circle, left, right, up, down. Work it out that way. That's all we're gonna do here, from the inside out. Okay, we'll use my smaller hammer. It's a little easier on my wrist. Don't worry about wrecking it because we're replacing it. It's just got to come out. There it goes. Okay. See how it's tapered? I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually tapered. So this up. Same with the inside. See how it's tapered? Now, throw that in the scrap pile. Flip this over. See the ring in there? That's where it seats. And you know what? I don't feel anything gnarly in there. Like if there's any burrs or anything like that, it would have to be addressed. Now we've got to push out the inner, which is easier because it's not a balancing act so much. Same thing, left, right, up, down. There it goes. That was easy. Oh my goodness, I'm getting lucky with this one. I shouldn't have said that. I just jinxed myself. If you know anything about working on stuff, I just jinxed myself. Something's gonna go terribly wrong now. Alright. This rag is good for one more sop. No, it's no good. What about this one? Oop. Now, if you really want, you can take a little, this is lacquer thinners, just a little squish. You use the bar saw, gasoline, whatever. There we go. Okay. Now, that looks good in there. And, well, there's still schmutz in there, but it looks good. Looks good. Now, let's break out some parts. That's my seal. That is my bearing with my sleeve. So, man, my hands are greasy. There we go. Let's just worry about the sleeves for now. Take the bearing out. And this is what I mean. I just took this bearing in and went in. Now the problem with this bearing and that bearing, there's a number on here, right? Oh, that's actually a number on this one too. It was at 144649. Regardless, the point to my story is I matched it up and they look identical. Hopefully these are the right size. The other side fit, so we're going with it. The other side fit. Now here's the tricky part. This is where this comes in handy. Oh, it's almost done. Just a little bit to help it slide in. Now see that chamfer, how it's cone shaped? So we want to make sure that that bearing fits in there. That goes in that like that. Perfect. Take the bearing out. We're going to set it somewhere clean. Right there. Now, this is where my big socket comes into play. Lightly tap it. Now what I'm doing is I'm holding this down so that it doesn't get all cattywampus on us. And then just tap it lightly to start. Nothing big. Oop, see, it's starting to go in crooked. I don't like it. I'm going to start over. See? Now this is where we got to be very careful. We want to hit that so light. Yeah, it's moving. I can pretty much push it out with my hand. There. So gentle. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Now, as it's seated more and more in there, you can whack it a little harder. See, it's going in. And look, you can see the grease coming up through. It will make a different sound. Once it hits the bottom, I don't know if you can see this, but there's still a gap right there. There, made a different sound. Hear it? Solid. Hear it? We're good. Coolio. Look at that. Flip it over. Grab our other bearing. Okay, it goes in like that. Set it like that. Right? Put that back in the box. This we will okay. Now the other thing that you can do is take your old one, clean it off a little bit. Sometimes this is a better way to start them. Right? Get it all cleaned off. Set it backwards. So this is the way it goes in. We're going to set it backwards. Oh, starting to go on crooked. There we go. Whoop. Okay. I don't know why, but it wants to slide in this side better. Cool. And look, you can see that grease coming up through, or the penetrating fluid. Now back to the socket. And listen for the sound, we're getting close. There it is. Hear it? We're good. The last thing you want to do is hit it too many times and bevel this edge or put a chip in it or something like that. So now our hub is done, right? New bushings, I guess you could call them, in there. Sleeves, bushings, whatever. They're in there. We'll set this aside and get rid of our pieces of wood. Now, our gloves are dirty. Because this part, we want our gloves to be clean, because we're going to pack some bearings. I'm going to get rid of this rag. We'll reuse it for our next hub. We'll pull out a nice clean rag. Doesn't have to be big, it has to be clean. Bearing, bearing, seal. And then also in there is the cotter pin. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside. And tighten up our gloves. There we go. I've never been good at packing bearings. My dad was really great at it, and he would do it just barehanded. Not me, I guess I'm kind of prissy, if you will. Okay, the object is take your bearing like this and just nab a little bit of grease and shove it in. See? And as you're shoving, it's gonna push that. See how it's starting to push it through? And get that off of our hands. There we go. There, it's starting to come up through nice. Take that, put it back in your hand. Turn the bearing. Coming up through nice. Take that, put it back in your hand. Turn the bearing. I'm just scooping it. Like a little bit of ice cream. There, see that? There we go. There we go. Uh-oh, it's starting to rain. Perfect. We're good. There, one down. Same thing. Grab the bearing. Just a little nip. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, took too big of a scoop. There we go. That is beautiful. Okay, so we have two nice pack bearings. Oh, wipe my hands again. Hub side down. You know what? I'm gonna move this over a little bit here. That way you can see it better. Okay, so we have our bearing. We have our hub. This. Bloop. Oh, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm trying to get this done. Okay, let's put a little bit of lube in there. Now the best way to do it is try and get it as far as you can down in there, because we don't want anything rusting and then creating little rust particles getting into the bearing. Now there we go. Set that in there. Let's take our seal. Now the trick to this is, this apparently has coating on it, so we're good. We want this cup down, but before we do that, guess what? Yeah, more grease. Fill that up. Whoa, don't drop it in the grass, man. Okay, we're good. So, up, down. I'm going to use this. It sits a little better on it. See how it sits on there perfectly? Wipe my hands before grabbing my hammer. Just so light. Starting to even go down a little crooked. Come on. Come on. Ooh. Why don't you want to go in? Alright. There we go. Now also, we want this seated down a bit. See how it's going down a little bit? But before we get too crazy, guess what? We're going to put some grease in that gap. There we go. Perfect. You don't want to put it in too hard. There we go. Now we got that in there. We got to get that out. Come on. Oh, geez. These are not the pliers. No. I went a little too far. There we go. I should have stopped a minute before I did. See, there's still play in that bearing. We're good. Let's go put this on. Okay, we're back at the trailer. Now, the one thing we want to do is we want to take a nice clean rag. We want to clean this all up. Now, do we feel anything? Any burrs, any imperfections, any big grooves? Anything at all, really. And if you do, we're going to have to address that. Now, this feels nice. Everything's nice and clean and smooth and perfect. I like it. Now, before I get too carried away, this is just, I call them red scratch pads. Some people call them Brillo pads. You can buy them in any hardware store in the paint department. Basically, I want to take this and just clean up this little bit of an edge here. Make sure there's no dust, no gnarly spot. Gonna allow contaminants, water, dust, dirt, anything back into that bearing. There we go. Now obviously we're going to wipe it really good again. Perfect. That's all it needed. Now we got our grease. We put a little on the shaft, move it around. Doesn't have to be a lot. And then right there. Hopefully this will slide on nice, and that'll keep any kind of issues that we might have with rust away. There we go. Perfect. Now you can either put the bearing in here or just slide it on. But before I do, see how I got half greased? I want to grease this side too. Just like that. Nice and gabagood. Okay. Easy. There we go. Push. Then we'll take our bearing. Another glob. Put it in there. Put our bearing in. Now this washer we're reusing, but it doesn't have any chips, burrs, or anything on it, so it's still good. Put that on there. We cleaned this off. We got rid of all the other grease and grime with whatever we needed to do. We'll just put that on there. Get rid of whatever that is. The point to this is to try and keep it as clean as possible, but it's almost impossible in the surroundings I'm in. Now, take my C-locks. This is supposed to be torqued to 25 foot-pounds of pressure, but I don't have a socket big enough to go on that. And 25 foot-pounds isn't that much. So what we're gonna do is, we'll get it to the right size first of all, and then we'll just crank it down, turn it. Then bring it back, turn it, crank it down. See, it's a little tighter, but that's okay. See, that is pretty much bottomed out. It's pretty hard to turn. Right? Now you don't want to wreck a bearing by putting too much pressure on it. So we'll give it another right? There we go. Bring it back. Spin it. Oh, listen to that. I know, you can't hear anything. Isn't that beautiful? Better than that sound. And you can quote me. Okay. Turn it. There we do. There we go. One more. Yeah. That's about as hard as I want to go with it. And then we'll just spin it back off. Oh, come on now. Don't be mean. My problem is I'm 40 something now. I don't have the knees I used to have. There we go. And then basically, just get it so that the cotter pin can go in. Right? Is that it? Look at that. So, the question is, do we want to go back one spline, I guess you could call it? Eek. I got sand on my gloves. Okay. Now where is, there it is. Okay, it's right there. Question is, do we want to go a little tighter? The one spline there. I think we do, because this will eventually loosen itself off. I'll push it all the way through, and then grab it with my tools, and we're going to bend it this way. Right? Right over. And then I need my hammer, which I forgot. Alright, now just tap it over. Perfect. We have our new cap. We have some grease. We'll put more grease around this. Now, the one thing that I disagree with, and I might catch flack for it, is somebody will fill this cap all the way up. Me, personally, I think that's a bit of a waste of grease. Although you could argue the logic that once I set this grease down, I'm probably not going to touch it for whatever many years until I do these bearings again. The other thing you do not want to forget is to put a little grease around here to keep the weather elements out and to help it slide in. Put it in there. You know what? Wipe our hands first. Put that in there and lightly tap it. Everything I've done today wants to go in one-sided. There we go. Okay, perfect. And we're done. That's how you do that bearing, backyard style. We're good to go. I got one more to do. I'm gonna leave it off there. Now what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the tire on and I will torque it to 100 foot-pounds of torque. Fortunately, this trailer doesn't have any markings on what torque specs to use, but 9 times out of 10, it's 100 foot-pounds per lug nut in a star formation. So you want to go star formation, then all the way around, ending on the one you started with. And that's how you torque a tire. Now, in 100 or so kilometers, maybe after your first trip, depending on how long it is, re-torque your tires, because you'll be surprised how they kind of need a little nudge into a tight position again. All right, well, good luck. Hopefully you have a little bit better luck and a little bit better spot than what I did, and everything goes well for you. All right, have a good one. Remember how I said I just cursed myself? Well, yeah, I definitely cursed myself, because these bearings, whoa, these bearings don't fit on my other axle. Here, let me show you. Come on now. Look, brand new bearing. I pressed it in, I did everything, I got it all packed, and it will not fit on this axle. 3 out of 4, and they don't go on. It will not slide on. So now I gotta drive 80 kilometers back to Princess Auto, return this, get another bearing, and hopefully they don't bug me about the bushings or the sleeves or whatever. I just need 2 new bearings that are the proper size. Junk. I can't believe this. Ah, I'm so greasy. So I am getting nitty gritty in a field with the sun beating down on my face. So hopefully your Father's Day is going better than mine. A potato? Sound like an old man. And Also, what I did was I took, oh, gross. I am too fat to be hopping in and out of trucks. Or should I set it up there? I think I should. Always remember, when torquing, it's 2 uggas and 1 dugga. Torque. I'm joking.